everybody, this is Celeste. I'm a nationally certified interventionist. I'm a recovery coach and I'm also a family coach. And today I want to talk about some of the unhelpful thinking patterns that many of us have that just create a complete mental gong show in our head. And we'll talk next week a little bit more about how to change some of those negative thinking patterns. But today I wanted to go through some of the unhelpful thinking patterns that really bring us down and keep us from living our best life. So the first one is being your own worst critic. So this is really dwelling on mistakes and, oh, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I messed up so badly. Downplaying our achievements. Really just dwelling on our weaknesses rather than our strengths. The second one is putting a negative slant on everything. So saying the cup is half empty instead of half full. So looking at situations through that gloomy perspective. The third one is having a gloomy view of the future. And this is really applicable for a lot of us that have been through addiction or have a loved one that's struggling in addiction. So we think that, oh, just because things are bad now, they're always going to be bad. Things are never going to change. I'm never going to get better. The relationships aren't going to get better. My loved one is never going to get sober. So that's one of the unhelpful thinking patterns. The next one is catastrophizing, so jumping to the worst possible conclusion or outcome. I have a really good example of this. Yesterday it snowed in my area, and so I opened my front door and there's snow everywhere. I wasn't expecting snow, and I'm looking out thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be driving to work today. I'm going to slide off the road. I'm going to have a head-on collision. I'm going to be paralyzed or brain damaged for the rest of my life. This is just going to be horrible. Obviously that didn't happen. So that's an example of catastrophizing. Having a negative view about others, how others see you. So doing the mind reading things. So thinking that in any situation, whether it's with family or friends or in a professional environment, that people think that you're not good enough or pretty enough, or that they think you're stupid or you don't do your job well, or they're not going to love you if you don't do A, B, or C. So really just doing that mind reading and not having any facts for believing those things that you think that people feel about you. So, your boss has never come to you and said, oh, you're doing a really bad job, you need to do better. So, things like that. So doing that mind reading thing without any actual facts. Another big one for people that left someone in active addiction is taking unfair responsibility for others and their actions. So feeling like, you need to, their mistakes or your mistakes, you caused this to happen. So taking that unfair responsibility. The last one is the all or nothing thinking. So the extreme statements, using always or never, using those extremes, the shoulds, must, ought, I should be doing this, I must get a perfect grade on my test, all those kinds of things. So, these unhealthy and unhelpful thinking patterns are so common for many people. And one thing that I hear when I'm talking to people is that they often think that they're alone in this line of thinking. So I really want to start to normalize that, in that so many of us have these thought patterns. And when I was first going to school and reading through the textbooks and the text that came up on these unhelpful thinking patterns, I remember reading it and thinking, oh my God, like if it's in a psychology textbook, it must mean that more people are thinking this way than just me. So, it's definitely something that a lot of people really go through and experience, and really have these types of unhelpful thinking patterns really bring them down. So, just, remembering that you're not alone in all this. So, we're going to talk a little bit more next week about overcoming these negative thought patterns and how I work with people to do that. So tune in next week where we're going to start to talk about keeping track of the thought patterns and changing them. So I hope you tune in for next week. And if you want to apply for my family coaching program, where we'll dive more into the unhelpful thought patterns, I'll put the link to apply for my program in the caption. So make sure you go fill out that application and tune in next week. Thanks, everybody.